They can try to take me down, but they can't take me to my knees. I'm not trying to lose you, but loving her makes loving you harder. Loving her makes loving you harder now. Baby, I thought you could give me wings. Maybe I thought falling felt like flying. 'Cause loving her makes loving you harder. 'Cause loving her makes loving you harder now. Loving her makes loving you harder. And far away, I'm loving you stronger now. Cause loving her makes loving you harder now. Cause loving her makes loving you harder
What is up, Level Up Nation, and welcome to the Monday, October 19th edition of LvLUp Live, your home for gaming and esports news, brought to you by OTN Media. My name is Fiasco. That stud next to me is the king of the courtside. You can call me John, you can call him Joey. Joey, happy Monday, buddy.
It's an all right Monday. I wouldn't quite go happy Monday. It's been busy. It's been quite busy. And as T-Spans has already told us in chat, we were slightly late starting the show. I think we were off by like 15 to 20 seconds. So T-Spans, we apologize full-heartedly on that one.
Yeah, T-Span, sorry to make you wait an additional 15 seconds while we press record. So it's fine. It's fine, T-Spans. We're here for you. So I'm glad that you're calling us out for 15 seconds, being like, that's fine. But if you don't want to wait for the show to be late and you want our spicy takes throughout the week, make sure you follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at LvLUp Live. That is at LvLUp Live. And while you're on Twitter, why not give your favorite hosts? That might be us. It should be us, Joey, right? It should be us.
I mean, for the most part, we've had some great guests on as well, though.
Okay, anywho, we're talking hosts, though. We haven't any guest hosts or anything. So I'm talking, if you're on Twitter and you're following the show already, why not follow Joey? Why not follow myself? Find him at Courtside King and find me at Fiasco. You're watching here live on Twitch. Those are those handles right below our mugshots you're currently staring at. If you're listening to the podcast down the road, they'll be in the show notes for you below. And Nation, as always, if you do wish to listen to the podcast version of the show, the LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And since you're listening already, why not leave us a really cool review? Reviews do go a long way helping grow the show and reach new listeners, so we would appreciate if you take a small moment during the week to leave us a really awesome review. All right, Joey, there's a ton going on in the world of gaming and esports. We have League of Legends Worlds 2020 coming to a conclusion soon. There's a lot of drama this past weekend. I know some teams got knocked out. You know, Joey, you might be a little upset there, but you know, you have your flag still there. You're rocking your Fnatic gear and everything. So, you know, we're gonna hold it together for this episode. Other than Worlds 2020, Joey, what else are we hitting on today?
Honestly, John, LvLUp Nation, this is a little bit of a smaller episode than usually. Not a ton. As John said, there's a lot of great esports events going on, but not a ton of new news to break down. We do have a decent amount to hit on. Some roster changes. We have some updates on StarCraft 2. A new teaser out of the Xbox Australia New Zealand account that has a lot of people up in arms on speculation. NBA 2K making some interesting practices and much more.
All right, Joe. So we have our topics. It is a Monday. I want to kick off this week on a strong note. So let's jump right into our beverage of choice for this wonderful Monday. Joey, your beverage. Joey, we're hitting a milestone this week. This is episode 199. So this has to be a good one because the very next one is going to be our 200th show of LvLUp Live.
John, in anticipation for the next one, I'm actually going easy tonight. That and the fact that I just drank a ton of wine last night. My in-laws were on their way from New Jersey to Florida last night, and it was my father-in-law's birthday, so we opened quite a few wine bottles, to say the least, so I'm giving my liver a break tonight. I'm just going with some simple water tonight, unfortunately. But like you said, episode 200 is right around the corner, and I am planning on going all out for that, liver well-rested and all.
Well, Jerry, I appreciate the invite to party last night with all the wine and everything. Oh, wait, that's right. You didn't invite me. It's fine. All right, so here we go. Jack and Coke. Let's go. Good stuff. Simple like that. Joey's bringing the water. I'm bringing the hard liquor. Joey, we have our topics. We have our beverages. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into gaming and esports news. Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's kick things off with Overwatch League. We talked about it on the last episode. The London Spitfire going through quite a few changes. They have released their full coaching staff. They've released their full roster. Some of those players could potentially be back, but at least at this point, it looks like they will completely clean house. We do have an update on the first position being filled, though. That is going to be their new general manager, Nuki, coming in, the former Hurricanes manager, the Hurricanes being one of the best contender teams out there. We saw a lot of players get picked off of that team to go to other professional organizations. We saw a number of those players perform very well on the contender stage. Now Nuki moving up into a full-time role as the London Spitfire general manager. Personally, I think she did a great job when it came to the Hurricanes team. They seem to continue to win over and over. A lot of really popular talent, like I said, nabbed off of that roster as well. So the fact that she already showed she can work well with young talent, the fact that she shows she can find young talent to work with to begin with, I feel like that gives a lot of promise to the Spitfire as they look ahead to the next season.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely great. I think Spitfire going through another time of change. Obviously, we hit on it last episode with the entire clearing of the roster. So she's going to have a lot ahead of her going forward with the Spitfire. I'm really excited to see what she does with this organization, with an amazing organization backing the Spitfire in Cloud9, willing to go the distance to do whatever it takes to put together a competitive roster. So I'm really excited to see what she does as the new GM for the Spitfire going forward.
Absolutely. And she gave us a little update already. So again, don't put everything on this because things can change here and there. But she did say that the Spitfire will be focusing on Western and particularly EU talent. So we could see some Asian players come over here and there to fill a spot or two. But for the most part, the roster will be European based, or at least Western based, with the majority of those players being European. On top of that, they will continue to support their academy team as well. This is something that a number of Overwatch League organizations have either fallen back on or have not put in the level of support that was originally expected of them. The British Hurricanes will still be fully supported by the London Spitfire, and they hope to. It's kind of going to be one of those systems where they try players out here and there, and they shift them back and forth a little bit more regularly. If a player is not performing to the level that they expect on the London Spitfire, they might give a player on the Hurricanes a little bit more of a shot in that chance, as opposed to what we've seen in some other seasons where academy players kind of stay on academy teams. main level team players kind of stay on main level team players. They're looking at a little bit more of a fluid system to allow those young talents to take their spots in there potentially and allow underperforming talents to go down to smaller scenes to maybe make themselves proven before automatically being benched as well. So a few different fluidities coming in there, but I think it's a good plan going forward. I see you and T-Spans fighting over there in chat.
T-Spans is abusing the Nightbot and putting all the links in chat. It's all good. It's all good. I'll take it.
So look at that. He's like a marketing tool over there. Everyone, T-Spans in chat, go meet him. Halo, we have another Halo roster as well. Another show, another Halo esports team being added, John. I feel like this is the third or fourth in a row. This one's not a Cloud9. They're not a Team Envy. It's a little bit smaller. It is the Kansas City Pioneers buying into the scene with Druck, Talk, Manny, and Soul Snipe coming in for that roster. Again, not the biggest of organizations, but yet again, Halo announcing another roster, another organization jumping into the scene. It feels like 3 or 4 back-to-back-to-back. So again, Halo Infinite being delayed, HCS still going on, but not quite a giant scene out there. People are still buying into this hype of Infinite. So I'm curious if they've seen something that we haven't. I would assume these organizations have had some kind of hands-on with the multiplayer, some kind of demonstration of what pool crowdfunding will look like, what prize pools will look like. So I really don't know, but I'd assume with all these people buying in, there's something going on behind the scenes that we'll learn soon enough.
And I think if you're a Halo fan, you have to be excited by this. Obviously, you're put off by the news that Infinite's being delayed into 2021. A lot of games are being delayed, unfortunately. Again, we're in the middle of a very awkward time in human history in the world with another international pandemic hitting society and humanity, really. So it's a really interesting time, and it's delaying games. But when you see moves like this from organizations, it has to make you feel good, because I would have a hard time believing that organizations that are trying to make money and try to bring more content, because more content equals more exposure equals more money, would invest into a game that doesn't have potential, that doesn't have that factor of a return on investment. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I would have to agree. I think this is a great sign for Halo and the Halo competitive scene that more organizations are jumping back into Halo with the soon arrival of Infinite in 2021.
Yeah, and again, we don't know too much about this. I think the bigger thing for me, and I think it's the same way for you as well, John, when it comes to Halo esports, we saw what potential could look like in the MLG era. It popped off. It was one of the biggest esports at the time. It did extremely well. I would say it even rivaled some of the ESPN stuff that we see now as far as the shows go, as far as top 10 plays go. They had a lot of that already integrated into the scene. Now, with that being said, the one major difference here for me is the fact it's on PC as well. So we're not talking about a game just solely on the Xbox, which again is a great console. It did great on that system, but it limits it as an esport. When you look at esports, you look at stuff that is widely available. Even League of Legends only being on PC at the moment, it's still widely available because PC is so well sold worldwide. Now, when you look at something that's single to a console, whether it be PlayStation or Halo, or Xbox, a lot of those scenes don't necessarily pop off in the same way because they're so much more limited to one system. With Halo going to be available on Xbox, mobile, and PC, it opens that up to a whole much larger audience. PC in particular is where a lot of these big esports scenes coincide. It's where it survives. It's where it continues to grow. Now you're looking at that for all of these different systems. I feel like that alone gives Halo so much more reach than it even had before. Reach, a little bit of fun in the Halo universe as well. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that ends up impacting audiences. Infinite has got to come out and it's got to hit certain points with the older audience as well as certain points with the newer audience. If it can find a way to bring both those audiences together, it could be a giant esport moving forward. It is a tall tale at that, though. This next one is interesting. This next one I never thought we would ever say in any type of esports news. I'm still a little bit stunned that I'm actually reading this. T1 has made a new signing of a popular streamer. It is not Pokimane. It is not Ninja. It is Tyler1. Tyler1, the famous or infamous, depending how you look at it, streamer of League of Legends, comes out there. He's a rager. He's been banned a couple times. He is back, still continuing to make content, still continuing to yell at viewers and players and teammates and opponents alike. Tyler1 is now a content creator for T1.
T1 joins T1. Like, that's just a perfect match if you ask me. You know, okay, so it's kind of weird. Like, T1 is a known Cloud9 fan. Like, he rocks C9 gear all the time. He has a decent relationship from what I've like with the surface level research to have there. Like they interact all the time on social media. So obviously there's some good blood there. I know he's hung out with a lot of players there as well with Cloud9. So him joining T1, like if he was going to join an organization, I would have put all my money on Cloud9, not T1. Like this seems like a very out of the box move for T1 to sign a personality like Tyler 1. Now I'm completely happy for Tyler 1. His story is quite interesting from being essentially permabanned on League of Legends, then reforming, if you will, to the point where he's like doing VOD reviews of other people playing League of Legends and just absolutely tearing people apart. And then Riot's like, hey, okay, cool, we'll let him back. It's all the way to the point where he's appearing in guest League of Legends games live on Riot's stream, which absolutely blew my mind also. But now he's signing with T1, and it's just, if there was any organization to do this, I would have put, like I said, all my money on Cloud9, not T1. Like, this is very awkward, but at the same time, I think it's great. T1 joins T1.
I mean, I'll give you Cloud9, but honestly, he feels like more like a 100 Thieves type of streamer to me. Something that has a little bit more of that lifestyle approach than just game streaming, because Tyler 1 is just such a personality. People don't watch him for his League of Legends. While he is a decent player overall, they watch him for the screaming. They watch him for the content. They watch him for the hot takes, something that fits very well with that 100 Thieves, even FaZe Clan type of brand. So I am a little curious to see him going to T1, but at the same point, T1, they are signing big people all the time, from content creators, as far as streamers go, to different personalities. You look at their Valorant roster, they've signed, 2 Valorant rosters at this point. They continue to buy into esports, continue to buy into content creators. Tyler 1 being one of the biggest ones out there, now being bought up by T1 here. Like you said, T1 and T1, they kind of go together. It is interesting to see how this will grow over time. But for now, Tyler 1 signed to a deal with T1. League of Legends, as we move closer to quarters, or we've moved from quarters to semifinals, as we now have the semifinal matches set for the World Championship. We have quite a bit to look at here as far as the offseason drawing near as well, John. One of the biggest things with the offseason outside of Worlds, because it's the offseason for most teams, especially if you're NA past the group stage. Ayo. Sorry, guys. I had to.
That hurts. Come on.
I had to. It had to come out. But one of the other big things to look at is free agency. When you look at League of Legends, you look at all of the roster moves, whether it's an NA team importing a bunch of old veteran talent from Asia again, whether it's an EU team finding that next up-and-coming mid laner. This is what it's all about in the offseason. Who is going where? What trades are being made? Who are the young talent coming forth? Who will prove as the next rookie to split type of thing? Where will the next caps come from? So now as we move closer to the offseason, there are a ton of contracts up for grabs. Just looking at some of the matches we saw recently, Reckless and Hillsong for Fnatic in the quarterfinals, both of their contracts are up. Reckless is probably going to demand a big deal, whether he stays with Fnatic or not. You look at European top laners, a lot of those contracts are up. Kabashard, Otawame, Alfari, they're all up as well. You look at Team Liquid in NA, Jensen is up, Broxa is up. I think Impact is up as well. So you have a number of big talents on the veteran side as well for NA. Bjergsen, I think he's like a lifetime TSM member at this point, so don't think too much on that one. But one of the other things is these people who are in long-term contracts as well. Even though some of these players are signed through 2021, 2022, trades can still happen as well, and there are a number of different ones being talked about. So, John, we'll dive a lot more into this as we get closer. Free agency officially opens up on November 16th. But for now, we do have to mourn the loss of one Cloud9 player. This one has been officially announced already. Jacob Wolf began to break the news earlier today. Now officially confirmed by Cloud9, Licorice will not be with the team moving forward. He is still on the roster. He's just not on the lead role anymore. He'll not be their lead top laner. And knowing a player of Licorice's stature, he will most likely move on to another team.
That hurts.
Yeah, how do you feel about Licorice moving on?
He was a great surprise in top lane. He played out of his mind. He went up against some of the best top laners in the world and competed. I feel like if he's not going to be with the Cloud9 organization, he will definitely be picked up, and he will continue to compete at a high level and continue to grow as a player. He's a very, very solid league player with a high potential of taking it to the next level or two. Like, he has a very high ceiling, plays incredibly well. Regardless of the meta. I'd be sad to see him go, but Cloud9 does this every now and then. They like to do roster shakeups, and this is, I feel like, just the start.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in chat tonight, but Squircle, I think his team, Golden Guardians, could be a good landing spot for Licorice, if I'm being honest. If I remember correctly, they have Haunter over there, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's a talented player, but when it comes down to it, I think Licorice would be an upgrade. I don't know what the contract difference would look like between the two. But if I'm just looking at raw teams based on the current NA rosters, I think Golden Guardians could really use an upgrade like that, like a Licorice, coming in with both that leadership as well as that mechanical skill. I think could really elevate that roster to another level. So again, guys, we do know some things here and there, some things still being finalized, but we're going to wait till things roll out a little bit more, probably toward the end of October, beginning of November, before we start doing a deep dive before free agency begins again, November 16th. Over to some other news, still a little bit on the sad side. Blizzard has announced the end of major development updates for StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 esports will continue for at least 2 more years under the current ESL and GSL deals, after which things are uncertain. They could easily renew the contracts. They could say, hey, StarCraft, you've had a good run. You're out of fuel. You're not continuing on. We really don't know past that point, but at least for now, they will be supported for 2 more years. In addition to that, I think we got to give a little bit of an ode to StarCraft, John. I know we don't have music queued up, but StarCraft was one of those first major new age esports. When we look at esports and where it is today, a lot of that started from stuff like Quake, from StarCraft, the ability of these beginning games where we saw people with crazy high actions per minute, the ability to completely macro a game like StarCraft is so hard. And then to do the microing and macroing together, it just takes so much talent, so much level of concentration, and just the ability and skill all put together in one package was amazing to watch as one of those first major esports coming out. On top of that, it's directly responsible for a lot of the audience on Twitch. When we look at Twitch as a platform, it didn't start out as this let's just chat type of thing as it is today. While there's still a lot of gaming, there's now podcasts, there's chatting, there's a lot of different things going on outside of gaming and esports alone. StarCraft was one of those big things that really kicked it off in the gaming and esports genre. We look at Justin TV versus Twitch. StarCraft was one of those major pillars that made Twitch really pop off and become what it is today. So a big thank you to StarCraft for what it did for esports. A big thank you for what it did to Twitch and just streaming in general. Again, it's not gone. It still has 2 more years of esport competitions at least. But on top of that, the fact that it's not getting any major updates is a little bit sad for that RTS scene. Again, it could mean a StarCraft 3 is quickly around the horizon. Personally, I think the RTS genre is probably going to sleep for a little bit. Maybe Age of Empires 4 will bump it back up here and there, but for now, I think StarCraft is probably going to sleep.
StarCraft needs more Vespian gas. You must construct additional pylons. It's bittersweet. StarCraft was one of the first series that really got me into gaming. I absolutely love StarCraft. Brood War was an amazing expansion for the original StarCraft. StarCraft 2 took it to a whole nother level graphically and on a story mode. And just the gameplay evolved so much over time. And it was such a big deal. And it still kind of is a big deal. StarCraft holds a special place in a lot of gamers' hearts and in a lot of esport fans' hearts as well. You hit on most of the major points there. StarCraft really was the foundation for a lot of esports to they tested the waters and really proved that this could be a thing. This could grow into a major community and ecosystem in esports. StarCraft really helped lead the way. Not saying they were the only ones who did it, but they did play a major role. And it's sad to see that it's the end of major developments for it. And, in 2 years, the, StarCraft scene may, as well as we know, disappear. It's kind of going this, it feels like it kind of feels like how Heroes of the Storm went down. But this one hurts a little bit more than Heroes of the Storm. No offense to Heroes of the Storm fans and pros out there, but you can't really compare the two. StarCraft is just this gigantic Goliath that seems to have found an Achilles heel over time. And now I think you are right, Joe. I think the RTS scene is going to go to rest for a bit if StarCraft 2 does end up coming to an end in a pro scene per se. But yeah, it's sad to see that StarCraft 2 is going down this road.
Now, I know this isn't what you meant by this comparison, but I just want to clarify. So what you're trying to say is just the historical means in comparison to Heroes of the Storm. John is not trying to say that the Heroes of the Storm pros were let know the same way. No. That kind of hits me the wrong way, the way they were told. In November, hey guys, you're going to have a scene going forward. And then 2 weeks later in December, they're told, actually, you're not going to have a scene. So I did not like the way Blizzard handled that. But yeah, overall, the impact of games from Blizzard, StarCraft is one of those biggest ones ever. The abilities that it made happen in the world of streaming, really the whole property altogether when it comes to esports, just that impact it had on a global scene was absolutely crazy to watch, and just the way it ballooned as an esport and continued to make esports what it is today. Again, it's come a long way, but it was one of those first initial pillars out there. So it will definitely be a loss seeing that one not get any more major development updates. At the same point, at least we do have some rest knowing that the scene will continue on for esports pros for at least 2 years. That'll give them some time to make adjustments if they want to try to switch games, if they want to look in other areas, depending on what they want to do moving forward. They have some time to decide on that.
Yes, and thank you for the clarification there, because if it came across that way, I apologize. But yes, Blizzard, at least you gave them 2 years notice this time.
As opposed to 2 weeks.
As opposed to 2 weeks, and then just kind of pulling the plug and the carpet from underneath their feet in Heroes of the Storm. But we're not going to go down that road again.
Absolutely. What a situation that was. Not a fan of how that was handled, but again, we do like the fact this one's given at least a little bit more time, even though it's sad to see a legacy game go. Xbox ANZ, Australia and New Zealand. John, we had a Twitter teaser today. We could think as little of this teaser or as big as this teaser as we absolutely want to. Do we have the ability to show things on screen, or have we not rebuilt that template yet?
Yes, that template has been rebuilt.
Okay, let's go ahead and pull this sucker up. We're going to do a little Google mapping.
Some replies were hidden by the author.
Oh, I don't know what that's about. Maybe it leaked information in the lake that we're about to view here.
Let's go ahead and...
shout out to John as well. He had some computer problems this weekend, so he rebuilt all of our templates from scratch. He is a beast.
Computer problems, a.k.a. the Windows update bricked my computer. I appreciate it, Windows. It's all the bad-mouthing of Xbox, right?
You never know. You never know. They are linked.
They are listening. Let's see.
Okay, guys, so this is our little teaser. Nothing too much. It is a few numbers over a lake. You can easily suppose those are coordinates, which we're going to do, John. So go ahead and pull up Google Maps for us next and type those coordinates in.
What am I?
It's almost like a little virtual scavenger hunt, you know?
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I did all this morning. I probably just should have sent you links, but we've been going back and forth on this
I
fun
will
thing.
Google it.
Kind of adds to the suspense, you know, watching John slowly type in the coordinates on the screen.
No, I hide my screen because I don't feel like people are giving me crap for my bookmarks.
Oh,
all right.
There you go.
Here we go. So it looks like we're going to go satellite image. Let's see where we're really at here.
Enhance.
So we are in Queenstown, New Zealand, in a cool little bay area. And it looks like we're on a pier. Enhance. Oh, apparently satellites in New Zealand don't exist. K-Jet Queenstown? Like, I don't know. Queenstown Paraflights?
It is Queenstown.
It
is definitely Queenstown.
Main town
the
pier?
area is called Steamer Wharf.
Excuse me?
Steamer Wharf. Like steamer, like a rice steamer, and then wharf as in fishing pier. Wow, look at that realization. So we have no idea what this teaser is about. To give you guys some speculation, so it's been all across the board. One speculation bit is Xbox Mexico tweeted out a tweet that there's going to be an event on November 9th. Now people are saying that New Zealand is officially COVID-free. This could be one of those live event locations that is streamed somewhere else. So that's one possibility. Another possibility, we do know for a fact that Xbox has been meeting with Gabe Newell of Steam quite a bit. So with him and Valve, there could be some kind of partnership going on between Microsoft, Xbox, and Steam and Valve. Who knows what is exactly going to come of that? It's a very big possibility that something's happening, but it could be as small as saying, hey, those exclusive Xbox first-party games will be available on Steam as well, day one for PC. It could be bigger, where we see a potential acquisition of Valve from Microsoft. It could be nothing. We really don't know what it's going to mean. One thing that people are pointing out is the fact that the name of this area is called Steamer Wharf. Steam was underlined at one point in a teaser image, so they think it could be something to do with Steam. Again, could be small, could be big. It's one of the speculations out there. A few dates that have been teased around are October 30th, as well as that November 9th date. So again, We have no idea what it is. If you guys want to play around with it, though, and do your own research, these are the coordinates we are given. This is the wharf it ended up taking us to in New Zealand. So we could see a new studio. We could see a Steam deal. We could see an acquisition. We could see just a live event, like a FanFest event. Anything is possible. Hopefully more teasers will come throughout the weeks. They said it should only be a couple days or so before we find out exactly what it's going to be. But for now, we have a pier in the middle of some water in New Zealand.
I like it.
But John, your Googling was just next level. In fact, that might have been even better than the teaser. Very impressive.
Well, I just wanted to give everyone an idea of where New Zealand was, because I know, T-Spans is in the chat. He may not have, known where New Zealand was. So I wanted to zoom out a little bit, zoom back in. So it was the full effect.
Oh, zoom in for the zoomer, we call it.
Zoom in for the zoomer.
Oh my gosh, what is he doing? It's always a fun night when T-Spans is in chat. Moving on from
That's
Xbox
awesome.
and those
I like
crazy
that.
coordinates.
I like that.
Yeah, who knows what he'll come up with the rest of this. NBA 2K, John, we bashed them a couple weeks ago for some crazy practices that they did, and now we're going to do it once again. NBA 2K has decided to add unskippable ads into NBA 2K21's pregame loading screens. So yes, guys, if you went out and you spent $70 or more on this nice NBA 2K21 game, you now get to watch ads as well within it. Like iOS apps, you pay like what, $1.99, $2.99 to get rid of ads. For NBA 2K, you pay $70 to get ads, apparently, because that's now a thing.
Microtransactions are one thing. Like, you have the option. It gives you the option to buy in-game content if you want to provide extra money to the game developers of your choice. Whether the game is free, whether the game is $20, $30, $40, $50, or $70, it gives you the option. But I'm sorry, if you are dumb enough to charge $70 for a next-generation sports game that, let's be real here, regardless of who the developer is, it doesn't change enough to warrant an additional $70, in all honesty, is then going to add unskippable ads to increase revenue from you, the consumer, and force you to watch products that you may or may not care about after you dropped $70 for a video game is absolutely garbage. Now, we also said that, the NBA 2K League adding in sponsorships onto the floor, onto the boards, and everything, that's fine. That's completely different. When you watch sports on TV, you are bombarded with ads on the field, on the scoreboards as well, on the sideboards. But if you are buying a game and they are going to force you to watch ads before you can play the game after you got done dropping $70, congratulations, NBA 2K21. You have found a way to piss gamers off. Like, when everyone else is doing things to make gamers happy, like free upgrades to the next generation console, even if you have to buy the most expensive edition of the game, but still a free upgrade to the next generation console for that game title. I just don't understand why you make this move. This is absolutely stupid. It's a money grab. Like, people with half a brain can understand that. It's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to make even more money off the consumer by charging us not only $70, but forcing us to watch another horrific Gillette shaving cream ad, or another, I'm not going to use that example, I have a filter, or another, look, it's just bad. Don't do it. It's stupid. You make an overnight patch to put it in. Guess what? Now you're going to make an overnight patch to take it out. It is absolutely stupid, and I hope people just stop playing the game until they get rid of it. It's stupid. It is absolutely stupid to force ads on gamers like this.
Okay, I just want to say, with ads, like, I'm okay if they're in video games for certain games. If I'm playing a free-to-play game, I am okay if you put an ad in there. I'm okay if you say, hey, you could pay this much money to get rid of ads. I completely understand that free-to-play games, especially live service games, need some way to make money. A lot of them, you look at a Fortnite, they're going to make it through cosmetics. Apex Legends, very similar. Other games out there that might not have the variety of cosmetics or the big enough of a studio to put out that number of cosmetics, I am totally okay if you want to throw an ad in here and there. If I am paying $60, $70, some of these people even bought the Kobe edition for a lot more than $60 or $70, there is no way in hell I am watching ads. That is such BS. It's obnoxious. Like, of all the things in gaming this year, besides PlayStation fanboys, this is probably the thing that has pissed me off the most. It's so stupid. Like, what is Take-Two thinking? This like makes me want to not even buy this game. Like, I like the idea of playing NBA 2K. I want to play NBA 2K. I'm looking at a new console to play NBA 2K. Why do something stupid like this? It's such a bad move. I'm with you though, John. I think this gets removed. I would be absolutely stunned if this stays in game. I think players should be outraged about it. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's ads, but you paid so much money not to see ads. Now they're forcing that onto you after you already paid. You know what, Take-Two? I will gladly watch your ads. If you pay me my $70 back and make it a free-to-play game, we got a deal. But if you're going to keep me paying $60 to $70 for a game, there is no way in hell I'm watching your ads.
All I'm going to say is I'm happy that I got a copy of NBA 2K21 for free, because I would have never paid for a video game that forces me to watch ads before I can even play a single game in there. Absolutely.
Well,
atrocious.
the worst part is the fact that they did it afterwards.
Yes.
So
it wasn't even
people who
pre-launch.
bought it, they've bought it. They're over their period of being able to return it. And now they have these ads in here. And what are they going to do? Sell it back to GameStop for less of a profit? What, 20%? Whatever they buy them back for nowadays?
Man.
Like, oh, it's so frustrating. People need to be outraged about this. This is not okay. I don't care if you're Xbox, PlayStation, PC. You could be Nintendo and Switch with a copy and paste FIFA game. Like, it is just not okay to put ads in games that you pay for. This is just not in any world okay for a gamer. Completely stand against this, because Take-Two needs to reverse it. Oh, now T-Span's over here posting G2 helmets in chat. Now we're getting crazy. Anything else to say on NBA 2K and this beautiful practice that is absolutely terrible and should be removed at this moment?
I'm done wasting our time on a game that is forcing players to watch advertisements for $70. As far as I'm concerned, I'm done talking about them, period. That's just horrific.
Not a great practice. Moving from that to a little bit more positive note. Again, I don't think this is going to have a giant impact, but I could be wrong. Rainbow Six Siege is headed to Game Pass for console and Android devices on October 22nd. Another big get for Game Pass. It's one of those games that a lot of people play, very, very popular. I think that's one thing that you look at with Game Pass and you're like, okay, it's usually been used for either big single-player games or it's been used for smaller games that they want to try to get an audience for, whether that be indie developers or Xbox first-party studios on the smaller side like Bleeding Edge. Now we're seeing a game like Rainbow Six, again, lots of clout to it, very popular game. I don't know if it's going to have a giant impact because it's already played by 60 million people. With that being said, we've already seen a lot of games go to Game Pass with big and small audiences and continue to find ways to increase it. So if you've not tried Rainbow Six Siege out yet and you are an Xbox gamer or a mobile gamer, you can go ahead and check that one out. Again, it comes October 22nd. John, you and I had some fun with Rainbow Six Siege. We really didn't stick around with it too long. It didn't really fit our style as much, but it is one of those games definitely worth trying if you're into any kind of shooter.
Yeah, it didn't really fit my style because I was bad at it. But yeah, I have no problem just saying that. No, the game itself is fun. I was not good, and I just got beyond frustrated. And I was like, you know what? I'm good to go. Chat is going off taunting the G2. In Worlds Against You, Joey. It feels like they're just spamming your arch nemesis to just make fun of the fact of Fnatic's demise. It's getting interesting.
This is just one of those things. So last Monday, we had a very educated chat. We had like 15, 20 people going back and forth about actual topics. This week on Monday, we just have T-Span spamming a bunch of different things in chat with occasional other people speaking up. But yeah, it's quite interesting over here. If you like pictures of Dr. Disrespect and G2, and I don't even know what that other one is.
I think the Dr. Disrespect one was Panicking Pat.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was. Look at Pat getting the copy pasta. Look at this.
Wow.
Because this is what happens when you let the rap hype up. Jeez. Love it.
Chat never fails to impress. Unlike NBA 2K and their crazy ad things going on. Exactly.
Never heard of them.
So moving on from Rainbow Six Siege, now available on Game Pass. We don't have too much to talk about on today's show, so we're going to wrap things up with Worlds. And then I don't know how you're feeling, John, but I'm kind of wanting to play some games with the OTN community later tonight. So I think that's what I will be doing after the show.
Sounds good to me. Let's get some games on after this.
Perfect. Let's talk Worlds first because we are now into the semifinals. Let's break down the quarters before we kick things off. What was the first match in quarters? It was Damwon and DRX. I think we already talked about this one on Thursday. Again, just to recap, that was a 3-0 in favor of Damwon, a very dominant performance from them. Moving on to Friday's matchup, we had JD Gaming up against Suning. I believe I picked JD in this one, John, and I want to say you picked Suning. Suning did come out on top in this one. We both said 3-1. It was 3-1 for the final. Actually, I think you said 3-2, but either way, you had Suning right, and Suning does move on in the end. That's going to set them up for a matchup up against Top Esports, who took down Fnatic 3-2. This, to me, if you have to watch any single matchup from this past quarterfinals, if you want to dive into VODs, I would recommend the JD Gaming and Suning match or the Top Esports and Fnatic match. Both the lower bracket matches kind of sucked, if we're being completely honest. The series was not super tight. They were both 3-0s, so spoiler alert, G2 went 3-0 as well. They took down Gen G in that one. Again, not too many surprises. G2 looking dominant, especially behind Caps. Breaking down what I think was probably the best match, not just because I'm a Fnatic fan, but because it was the most back and forth. And it was not supposed to be back and forth, if you ask most people. Fnatic going those 2-game wins, going up 2-0 to kick things off up against Top Esports, arguably the best and top team of the tournament. Top did end up finding the first reverse sweep in World's history to knock out my boys Fnatic and EU's second to last hope, with G2 remaining as the last hope for the West. Did you get a chance to watch any of this series, John? Fnatic and Top Esports?
I got to watch a couple of the games. I'm on game 3 at the moment.
Oh.
Yes.
So you get to watch the downfall now.
I get to watch the reverse sweep happen on my own time.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I woke up early to watch these matches, and I was very hyped. My heart rate was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, Fnatic might actually pull this off. Like, I knew there was going to be some potential via bot lane and via jungler, especially with self-made. With that being said, I did not expect them to be as dominant as they were in the first 2 games. Hillsong and Reckless did something they've never done up against Eastern teams before, and that's bring the aggression to them. When we look at Hillsong and Reckless, they usually play a little bit more passive when it comes to that Eastern competition. They let AD carries like Uzi, like Jackie Love really push them around. This time, Hillsong went full on in. He was ready to engage every single time, and Reckless was there to follow up very quickly until he drafted that Jhin in game 3, which I was not the biggest fan of. Again, I don't think Reckless plays a bad Jhin, but I don't really like the style that Fnatic plays around the pick, and I think that's where things started to decline overall. But when you look at this game, I think there was some good back and forths. I think game 4 was probably the best game to watch if you want to watch one of them. That one, just the Gold League continued to go back and forth between the 2 teams. Both teams had pretty good drafts. Both teams had pretty clear win conditions that the casters do a good job of breaking down. So if you have to watch any game, game 4 would be the one to watch. But yeah, in the end, we did see Europe break a record, and that was the record of being reverse swept. Now up there with NA and their nice 0-6 group stage record.
Shut up.
Not the prettiest records being set by Western teams this year, with those 2 not being too on the pretty perspective. But overall, yeah, I think Fnatic came out. I think they gave them a good fight. I think they showed more than anything that Top Esports is vulnerable. And I think that's the big thing for other teams remaining in the tournament to take moving forward. Top Esports is not this almighty, crazy, powerful team. They've now lost to FlyQuest once, and they've lost to Fnatic twice. So blood has been drawn. They have shown weaknesses. And now as teams prepare, this next one in line is Suning. They now have some idea of how to prepare a little bit more ahead of time. John, that sets us up for Suning and Top Esports. I personally, to go ahead and predict this one out, I'll be picking Top Esports to move on. While I think Suning is good, Huan Feng, especially as the AD carry, just absolutely popped off as Jhin in their game up against JD Gaming. I think Suning will bring the heat to them. I could see this going 3-1 Top. I could even see it going 5 games. Personally, I think Top is a little shaken after their match with Fnatic, and they do know this opponent a little bit better. I think they're going to come in more and well prepared. I think this one will go, I want to say 3-1. It could go 3-2, though. Suning is playing well. I will go 3-2 and give them the benefit of the doubt. I do think Top Esports comes out on top, though.
Joey, I just don't want to pick anything you're picking right now. I'm going to go with Suning. They did me good against JD Gaming. I'm going to take them again. I'm going to ride them while they're hot. You know, they're coming off of a solid win, 3-1. I mean, Fnatic showed Top Esports' weaknesses, and Suning's going to take what they learned from Fnatic, and they're going to hop on that train and make it even better, and they're going to take them down 3-2 and punch their ticket to the finals.
Okay, Squirkle just made the comment of the night in chat. Okay, so T-Spans posted message deleted by moderator, and Squirkle came back and said, how I wish that message was true. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the chat message of the night so far in tonight's show. Beautiful stuff coming out there from Squirkle. Okay, so you're going Suning. What did you say, 3-2?
3-2, yes.
Okay, so we're both going 3-2. Jon is taking Suning as he did take them for that win that I did not in round one. I'll go ahead and take Top Esports to move on to the finals to complete my bracket moving forward with them. Over to the next matchup, we have Damwon and G2 Esports, Jon. Damwon winning 3-0 over DRX, G2 going 3-0 over Korea's Gen G. Who are you going to take on this one to advance to go take on potentially Suning or Top in the finals?
Unfortunately, the fall of the West happens in the semifinals. I'm taking Damwon Gaming over G2. I'm going to say it's going to be close. I think G2 is going to be able to play them well. I think they're going to be able to take a game, maybe 2 games. I'm going to go and say Damwon 3-2 over G2.
For the hope of the West, I hope G2 surprises me, but Damwon is who I have winning this tournament. I think they're the most talented team out here. I think them and Top are going to be your finalists. I'm going to take Damwon as well. I'm going to take them 3-1. I do think G2 is very talented. I think Caps is probably going to play really well overall. But when it comes to it, I think Damwon's jungle, especially with Canyon, is going to be able to make some moves over Yankos and potentially impact this game quite a bit. On top of that, Wonder's a great top laner for G2, but Noguri is just on a whole nother level. I would argue he's been the best top laner all tournament long so far. So I will take Damwon to move on in this one 3-1. You are going Damwon 3-2, correct, sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna give the West a little bit of a hope. I'm gonna let everyone get that same hope and hype that us NA fans have, just to be let down in the end in dramatic fashion.
Just to be let down in dramatic fashion. So we will see, again, the last hopes of the West, whether you're NA, not making it past group stage, whether you're EU, only sending 2 teams to quarters. Not the prettiest showing for the West so far this year, but they did get 1 team into the semifinals. That is G2 Esports. They are the last hope for the West if you want to see a Western team win. So they will need to take down Damwon, arguably one of the best teams in the tournament, to do that. Other than that, Jon, I don't think there's too much to touch on. I believe these games are Saturday and Sunday. Yes. So G2 Damwon will be Saturday, October 24th at 6 a.m. Eastern time. And then on Sunday, you have Suning and Top Esports. And that is Sunday, October 25th, again, 6 a.m. Eastern time. So a little early for us East Coasters. But at least Riot Games and LvL Esports were nice enough to move these times back from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. It does make it a little bit more reasonable. So if you guys want to check those out, again, that is this weekend. Jon, I think that does it. From LOL Worlds to all of these new things coming to Game Pass. We have the Xbox teaser. Unfortunately, the ending of StarCraft 2 in the next couple of years, with that game being slowly phased out. And the big roster moves that we talked about today, too. We should have a lot more for Thursday. I know there's some teasers that are going to drop. Some big information drops before then as well. And guys, we are trying to line up a few guests as well for the show. So we'll keep you updated on all of that action. But for now, look forward to Worlds this weekend and possibly playing with Jon and I some this week.
All right, and before we wrap the show up, again, a big shout out to Squirkle, subbing for 22 months in a row here at OTN Media. Thank you so much for the support, Squirkle, and your friendship. We do appreciate it. And I don't know if you hopped in at the time, but we are going to be hopping over OTN Discord after this. We'll be playing some games, maybe some Rogue Company, or as Panicking Pat likes to call it, Rogue One. And we will we'll be playing some games there. So come hang out on Discord afterwards, everyone. Well, Nation, that will do it for this edition of LvLUp Live. But before you go, head on over to patreon.com/OTN and consider becoming a part of the Overtime Network. In return, you will get access to exclusive content that nobody else in the world can get unless they are a part of OTN Media. If you haven't already, make sure you follow the show here on Twitch to catch the next episode of LvLUp Live. If you listen to the show on our podcast feed, leave us a review. The podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. We would love to hear from you. In fact, we love to hear from our viewers and listeners so much. We have other ways for you to interact with us and the show. Joey, where else can LvLUp Nation go to interact with us?
LvLUp Nation, head on over to Twitter and find us at LvLUp Live. That is LvLUp Live. In addition to that, you can follow the umbrella company OTN Media on Twitter and Facebook as well. And that is at OTN Media. We're also on Instagram at OTN_media. Last but not least, as Jon said, hit that up really nice follow and or subscription on Twitch. If you like Squirkle, be awesome. You can do that over on twitch.tv/OTN Media. Thanks again for listening, guys. LvLUp back Mondays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch.
Make sure you tune in this Thursday, October 22nd, as we cover the latest and greatest in gaming and esports news. Do your ears a favor. Hit that follow and sub button here on Twitch. Know when the next episode of LvLUp Live is ready for your viewing pleasures. We will catch you all on Thursday. Have a great week. Remember, be nice to your fellow gamers online. And as always,
Level
Level
up.
up.
Don't bring me down, bring me down. If I fall, then would you lift me up? Would you lift me up or bring me down?
They would like to start the beginning of a revolution. This is only the beginning.